Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started now. And we'll start the way we always start here in the bookstore, dedicated to science and poetry, with a poem with a bit of a science to it. Since yesterday was the Equinox, I'm going to read At the Equinox by Arthur Sis. With the ebb of the Equinox Festival here in Fruta in the background. The tide ebbs and reveals orange and blue sea stars. I have no theory of radiance, but after rain evaporates off pine needles, the needles glisten. In the courtyard, we spot the rising shell of a moon, and at the equinox, bathe in its gleam. Using all the tides of starlight, we find vicissitude is our charm. On the mud flats off Homer, I catch the tremor when waves start to slide back in, and from Roanoke, you carry the leafing jade smoke of willows, looping out into the world. We thread and we return. The lapping waves cover an expanse of mussels clustered on rocks and giving shape to what is unspoken. Forsythia buds and blooms in our arms. Arthur Sis. Welcome everybody to the Lithic Bookstore. Great to see a nice audience like this for a lovely night of music and poems. For those of you, most of you probably know this, but we have events like this quite frequently, mostly poetry readings. We had a night of music last night, singer-songwriters, and we have lots of events scheduled into next year at this time. Just scheduled another event in February, a guy named Mark Sundin, a writer who has written about a guy that lives here in Fruta, named Daniel Suelo, the man who quit money. Very interesting man, a very good friend with whom I disagree on just about everything. Anyway, the author of that book will be here in February. We have a lot of poetry readings scheduled through the end of the year. You can look on our Facebook page for the Lithic Bookstore and Gallery for upcoming events. And love to see you back here. And I'm really happy tonight to have a couple of great poets, and to begin with, a wonderful artist, Silva-Villar will be playing the guitar, and he is originally from Spain and has studied in Spain and gotten a master's and a PhD at UCLA, and has been teaching English, Spanish, and other things at CMU, and I'm really glad to have you here, Luis. Please give Luis a round.
Welcome everybody here. This is Familiar Faces. Well, I'm going to play a few songs from the composer sometimes, and probably you don't know me as a musician, but sometimes I play. Well, sometimes when we have to present what you're going to play is a problem, because when you compose music, it's not like composing a song. When you compose a song, it's not that difficult to add a title to the song. But when you're composing just pure music, it's more problematic. That's why sometimes when we are listening about compositions, we hear something like Symphony Number 5, or Sonata in B flat, things like that. Say, well, that's where the spirit of sonata in D sharp major. Well, that's the way it is sometimes. In fact, the first thing I'm going to play has no title, but one of the ways I remember this is because I remember, maybe some of you will remember, a long time ago, a group, the name of the group was the Mahavishnu Orchestra. Do you remember any of you Mahavishnu Orchestra? Okay, and I remember just one chord that I was playing just with my habits. Sorry. Basically, that is one part of this piece, and I remember that when I want to remember the song, I think about Mahavishnu Orchestra. By the way, this is not a Mahavishnu Orchestra, but it helps to me, though there's no name for it, no title, just playing a little about that.